Hello everyone and welcome back to the studio here in Northumberland, and today it's going to be a watercolour, and this is what I'm going to paint. Looks a bit detailed actually. There you go. And it's a beautiful old building, as you can see. It's ancient, but I'm going to pretty it up even more than it is already. It looks a bit bare around it. I should be adding some trees and stuff to that lot. So on with the drawing and on with the reading glasses. And here we go. Again, notice I've just taped top and bottom of the paper until I've come across as far as I want to. And then I shall tape off the sides. About there. There's a slight downward angle to this roof line. That's a technical term, that girl.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And I don't want it all straight and perfect. This is an ancient old building. You can see bumps up and down in the roof line. It's quite a long roof, this one. There, that will do, I think. That's the end of it. And this, as ever, is a very specialist pencil that I'm using. Screwfix. Only the best. And down there. And always remember, when I'm doing the drawing for things like this, I'm always pressing on harder than I would if I were just by myself. I'm pressing on harder so that you can still see the drawing. A bit there. Now chimneys, they're quite big chimneys on this. Again, same angle to that bit as the roof. And down there. And then another chimney bit on top. Chimney bit, that's the technical term, that one.
Yeah, I don't know what the real term is.
Sorry?
I have no idea what the real term is.
Chimney bit. Trust me, I'm an artist.
That's why I don't trust you.
That's what my mother used to say, actually.
Wise woman.
Hmm?
She was a wise woman, your mother.
Is this video going to go on like this with you having a go at me, is it?
Yep, I think so.
Okay, just checking. Just making sure where we stand. Here's another chimney bit. And again there. This place, I've driven past it so many times. Gail and I stopped in there last week on the way back from somewhere. It was on the way back from France, actually, wasn't it?
Was it?
Okay. There's no pots on there, chimney pots, but I'm going to put a couple on. That'll do. Now the base of the roof. So, and the end of the building here. Bit of a lip there. I'm not bringing that all the way down. Another one here. And that one comes further down. There's no end to the building, no wall to building there, because another building going to cut in between. But there's a bit of a roof behind with another chimney on it. And it's a different chimney. on this I've got count the windows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 along the top. And 3 big bay window type things at the bottom. 6 on the top. Then I've got a gap between them, quite a big gap. You see there between windows. There, that'll do. Those are not the windows, Gab.
I thought they were a bit small.
Those are the top bits.
Okay.
No, they're not squinty windows.
It's 3 cottages, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah, I think
it was
so.
3 cottages.
Window ledge at the bottom. Like I say, this is quite a complex drawing really, but once you've got the drawing done, the painting's the easy bit, just filling it in. Painting by numbers, but without the numbers. Yeah, and we stopped here and had lunch. It was a little bit Faulty Towers-ish, wasn't it really?
No.
It was very nice and very posh and very country,
Quiet.
but it was very quiet.
It's not Fawlty Towers.
I thought it was a bit Faulty Towers-ish. Now I've got, well, a bit further. Now I've got, there's a bit of masonry. You know what I mean? Bit of fancy bit. A ridge all the way across there. All the way along there, sorry. There. And down there. And here, touching the top of that, we've got the first, I don't know if they are, not bay windows, what do I mean? But they're certainly old anyway. But like a bay window. You don't sound convinced.
Well, they could have been back doors or something at one time. Some kind of entrance. If there were no cottages.
Probably. No doubt you'll be right.
Anyway, it's what you make them now, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Artistic.
You know why?
license.
Because I'm the artist.
Yes, exactly.
Now, there is where the door was, which you're not going to be able to see really because of the big bush. But I'm just thinking, maybe I am going to let you see it. I think that would be better, don't you, Gail?
Couldn't say.
Probably wise. And the door, it was like it hadn't been open for ages. You couldn't get it open, could you?
No.
So you see?
Pub dooring.
Yeah. So you see what I mean? Faulty Towers. And these are mullioned windows, which means it's got stonework in between. So I shall just draw in there. And a bit around there. Then here, it's not a mullioned window, but it is a big window. It is a mullioned window, I mean, it's not a bay window, that's what I mean, Gail. You know what I mean?
Yes. Could you be explain that?
Yeah. Before you did.
Confusing.
And there's 3 windows in there. And now for some bushy bits. Always handy bushy bits, loads of bushy bits here. But I'm going to miss out that one in front of the door. I'll have it creeping into the door there. That one blocks the door off totally. I'm not going to have that. I'll have a bit of it. And then over here. There's a wall in between. That's the entrance. And the bushes around. And here I've got ivy growing up the front of the building. Well, I don't know if it's ivy, some creeper, and a bit of wall there. Now, to cut this off a little bit, this building is further forward, and I think this was the old coach house to it. There's a whole courtyard behind the place. Through there, and a little bit there. I don't want all of that building. It is very tall. I'll just go past the pinnacle of the roof there. Got a window there. And another one there. It was a very nice sunset, wasn't it?
It was lovely. Just in an unfortunate position on the main road.
Yeah. Now, the bushy bits here. From the base of that building. Got a lot of ivy growing up. Just blocking in where I'm going to put it really. A lot of ivy coming in here on the side of the building. And a lot of that coming out there as well. Not like that, just like that. And then the track coming out of the side there. And some grass coming down here. And the grass there. And lawn underneath that lot. I'm going to make this a track rather than this big. Do you know what I mean? That is horrible. Just make it a track as a lead in to the picture. A bit more along there. Now what's not there is this big tree that I'm going to put in. Like so. Some hedges underneath that. Through that, and then we're going to have one there as well. You know what I mean? I'm prettying it up. It looks very sparse around there. Now it won't. Now, all I need to do is tape off the sides. There we go, all taped off. Now, I'm going to slap in a big sky and let that dry. And a very simple sky because there's a lot going on in the foreground here. Loads of water on the top, coming down, go into the trees. Always remember, when you've got trees in full foliage, like these are going to be, paint through them with your sky. Don't start painting around them, wetting around them. Because when you leave gaps in the foliage, you just have big clumps of white paper showing through, rather than seeing sky wash through them. Now, just ultramarine blue, simple sky. Plenty of water into that. White round, gosh, that's strong, there you go.
Did a bit.
Trust me, you'll be fine. Coming through, coming down, through the trees. Wash out, squeeze out, and I'll mop up again. Just letting that run for a second or two. Get rid of that water on the tape there that could come down. Now, clean damp brush and take some clouds out. Some clouds down there. Still wet, obviously, you can see it's still sopping wet, but when it's finished running, now I'll reinstate the top of those clouds there. Wash out. And again, more cloud there. Reinstate that. And as I take out here, look. Oops. As I take out there, just drop a bit back in there. Bit of cloud shadow. And mop up. And there we go. A very simple sky. It's not quite dry. It's still a bit damp to the touch. But it's dry enough to be able to crack on and put a few bits in here and there. And I've got some hooker's green and yellow ochre here. And I'm using my number 8 round brush. And just while it's still slightly damp, just drop a bit back in there. That's just for some distance. Now, a little bit of blue, ultramarine blue. Same blue as the sky. Pop a bit of that in the bottom. And just let it spread upwards slightly. Clean that brush and just soften one up into the look. Just dabbing on. Now, straight in with the buildings now, because that's all there is really, isn't it? And I've got, for the roofs of these, it's stone, it's not slate, but it's a different colour to the stonework of the building. So I'm going to have to sort that as I do it. Pre-wet it, a bit of that. Now, a little bit of raw umber. Plenty of water into that. Just drop that on there. Don't want this one too strong because this is the furthest away one. Now, while that's still wet, a little bit of light red. And remember, light red is not a red made lighter. It's a colour called light red. So don't be getting your cadmium red in, putting loads of water into it and think you've made light red. You haven't. You've made your red lighter. Light red. It's actually more akin to burnt sienna. There, don't want that too strong. Same kind of thing for here, but obviously stronger. But again, I'm going to pre-wet it. across there. Around the chimneys. When I was a kid in Castleford, there used to be chimneys.
Oh yes, we have chimneys.
It's a chimney.
It's a northern thing.
Yeah. When I were a lad. Now, a little bit of raw umber.
This will be after daub and wattle. What would it be?
There's no need to get nasty about it. We talk about daub and wattle.
Mm-hmm.
What, this building or my childhood? Excuse me, be careful.
Yeah.
And while I'm doing this, I don't like the angle of this roof in comparison to that one. You see what I mean, Gail? You never even noticed that, did you? So I'm going to bring that further across there. Look.
Okay.
More of an angle there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See what you mean?
Yeah, you see.
See where you're coming from.
No flies on me.
So you wouldn't bother about the pencil lines?
No, because it'll get darker in a minute. Or was that a question you were asking on behalf of the viewers?
Yes.
Okay. No, I'm not bothered about it.
Some people think, once they've done the drawing that they can't.
Well, you can just take it out with the
Paint
rubber
over it.
afterwards.
Rub through
Your
the
good
paint.
old-fashioned hard school
What, you
rubber.
can rub through the paint
Yep. When it's dry.
when it's dry. You don't rub the paint up.
No. But you know all these really expensive putty rubbers, which I hate.
Yeah.
They get mucky, they fall to bits. They wouldn't take the pencil mark out once the paper's dried. Whereas your good old-fashioned hard school rubber will take the pencil mark out without disturbing the paint.
Oh wow. Clever.
But you've got to let it dry first.
Yeah.
But I mean, pencil lines have really never bothered me at all. I mean,
Part of the process, I suppose.
yeah, you walk around some of these major museums and stuff, and you see paintings by Turner and people like that. And I mean, on Turner especially, on the description it'll say watercolour and pencil, because all the pencil marks are there. You can see them. Didn't bother him. It's fine for me. See what I mean? Nice colour that now. Now, just with a clean damp brush, I'm just going to stroke down. I've flattened out the round brush slightly between my fingers. Just stroke down. And more or less made a different colour on the paper. But I'm stroking down in the way that the roof is coming. And actually, you're not really going to see any pencil lines there anyway. The roof is still wet, obviously. I've just finished it. But I'm going straight into the building now. And because I've extended the length of that, I'm going to extend the length of this here slightly as well. Look, pretty wet. And I'm kind of going around the windows. I'm not being too precious about them. But they're easy enough to miss out. Pre-wet it. Was that you then?
No. Cheek.
You weren't trying to sneak one out?
I haven't done anything. You're hearing things.
If you say so. Bit there. Oh, just water that. Bit mucky water, but it's water. Now, sand. Charles Evans sand. It's a lovely stone, this. It's around Stamford area, Stamford in Lincolnshire. Just sand. And down that. You see how that roof looks more in keeping now?
Mm-hmm.
Lengthwise I'm talking about. And sand is the only colour that I'm filling it all in with. The other colours that I'm going to put on, I'm just going to drop bits on it right there. And let it all spread. You're not getting in my way then, are you?
Try not to.
Now, while all that's still good and wet, notice I haven't gone into the mullioned bits like here and stuff. We'll do that in a minute. While that's all still good and wet, a little bit of yellow ochre, plenty of work into this, and just drop it on and let it spread in the wet. Now, a little bit of light red in a similar way. Well, not similar, identical. A few dabs of that. I don't want much of that. Now, a little bit of blue, ultramarine blue. Dab that on as well. Just dabbing on, let it spread, and you end up with a building that looks like it got chicken pox.
Does look a bit weird.
It's a party building. Now, wash out, squeeze out, clean damp brushing, and just merge, soften the colours in here and there. And so you're making the stone colour on the paper. Doesn't look weird now, does it?
No.
Now, like I said, I haven't painted the mullioned bits in on the windows. I wonder if you from America know what mullioned is.
You're going to ask me now, aren't you, for the definition, and I don't know it. Is it windows that have got...
Well, it's got stone in the middle of them.
Work, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not being disrespectful to Americans, but most of their buildings haven't been built long enough to be that kind of date.
No.
Now, the reason why I didn't paint the mullion bits in is because now I've made that colour on the paper. Now I'm using that colour to fill in those bits. See, it's not neat sand. It's not yellow ochre, it's not burnt sienna, it's the colour that I've made there. Is that clever?
Very clever.
Yep.
And very cost effective.
Very cost effective. A bit of that. Now, again, stroke, pick up colour, fill those bits in there. And let that dry. Now, for that side of the building, again, I'm going to pre-wet it. But this side, I'm going to have the light coming from the right, by the way. So there will be a bit of light showing on the top of this building, of this side. Carefully around the windows, carefully-ish. I'm starting with sand again. Sand has got a heck of a lot of uses. If you don't know about it, get some. Because it's good as a layering colour. You can put this on top, like I'm doing now really, and then put other colours on top and leave this shining through. It's also good as a lightener. Put sand into any colour you've got, in watercolour I'm talking about, and put a bit of sand into it, and you'll lighten any colour. Stonework, as you can see, good for stonework, good for painting beaches, because it's called sand. You know, our flesh tone is really difficult to mix in watercolour. Just a little bit of sand, touch of light red, you got flesh tone, easy as that.
It's blue, got dark flesh tone.
If you want darker flesh tone, add a bit of blue, yeah. Yes, thank you for correcting me there again. That's a bit of yellow ochre just in the top, look. And let it run down into the sand.
And you can get sand on our website.
And you can get sand on our website, as Gail's just said, yeah. You just carry on filling it for me, so.
Okay.
A little bit of light red now. You touch the light red there. bits of that. Now a little bit of blue. Notice I haven't put light red up there. You noticed that, yeah?
I did.
Okay. Bit of blue. And again, I'm not putting blue up there either. Now wash that, squeeze out again, and just with a clean damp brush, stroke those colours together. So I'm leaving the light on the top. And remember how I did the mullions with that colour before? This time, because I've got a building behind, put that on there. How clever is that, girl?
Amazing.
Maybe, thank you. Now I'll swing that in the chimney there. A bit there. Now with the other chimneys, it's a slightly different colour actually. So I'm going to go more raw umber, and I'm not pre-wetting the chimneys. Look, there's my raw umber. And you can see what I'm talking about using sand as a lightener. Once I've got the raw umber there, put some sand into it. Just lighten the raw umber. Ha ha ha! How clever is that? Is it?
Genius.
Thank you. Bit of that. Bit of that. Going down into the roof. Bit on that side. And this is testament to how much water these brushes will hold. Aquafine brushes. Because once I've done that with the same dip, now I'm just going to put more water into that dip so that it's lighter on that side. There. Easy peasy.
Lovely.
Now, a little bit of detail of stonework in the building, because it's a stone building. Raw umber, which has got a little bit of sand into it. I've lightened it. And there. Cornerstones. Are they called cornerstones?
Yep.
You see, I'm a builder and I didn't know it. And now you can see that I don't need to rub out that pencil mark, can't you?
Ah, right. Cunning.
A little bit of that there. It sounded like I knew what was doing there.
Bit.
Coming across there. All with the tip of my number 8 round brush this. I'm not going to go into there yet with that because that's still wet. Now a few strokes of stone in the fabric of the building. Don't go bonkers with it. You're not building this. You're giving the impression of stonework. So you don't need to do it stone by stone, just a few. And I've always thought that the stonework around Stamford is very reminiscent of Cotswold. Do you agree?
Cotswold's perhaps more golden.
I thought you'd have to disagree somehow. There. Now, back to the chimneys. A little bit of yellow ochre. And a couple of strokes in there. And a couple on that. And there. Those dormer window things, they're not the same colour as the roof, they're a darker reddy brown. So what I'm going to do for that, I'm going to have raw umber again. And this time a touch of burnt sienna into it. So I've made burnt umber. Raw umber is a very useful brown. It's the only brown I carry, both in watercolours and in acrylics. So you've got your raw umber as a nice standalone brown. Put a touch of blue into that, and you've got sepia. Put a touch of burnt sienna into your sepia mix and you've got Van Dyke brown. Take your raw umber and burnt sienna together and you've got burnt umber. Burnt umber. Easy peasy. Now that's that side done. Again, just a touch more water into that same brush full of paint. It's lighter, put there. And now it's time for windows. Ultramarine blue with a touch, tiny touch of burnt sienna into it. There. What have we got there? 4. Yeah. Again, just with the tip of an umber right round. And I always like putting windows in a building to painting the eyes when you're doing portraits. When you put the windows in, the building starts to come alive. That's a bit poetic, that, wouldn't you?
It is. The building's looking at you.
Yes. Thought you'd have to put another word in.
Just agreeing with you.
Me?
I'm just agreeing with you.
Okay. First time for everything. These, what? 3 down there. Leave a gap. 3 down there. Can you remember what the colour of the door was on this thing?
Red.
Was it?
The same colour as the sign.
So we're going to have red, are we?
Dark red.
Okay.
Not bright red.
And just blowing in. Leaving a little bit of white between each blob. Not too long one doing that. I got a drip from the sky there, girl.
See that?
Go on.
Magic.
Now, yeah, what colour we said for the door? I'll use alizarin crimson. Yeah, red. We'll go red, but I can't just go bright red.
No, not bright red.
So alizarin crimson and burnt sienna mix. How's that?
Yeah.
There.
Lovely.
Now, for a little bit of detail in the roof. And for this, I'm going to go to my rigger brush for once, number 4 rigger. And I've got a little bit of ultramarine blue, a little bit of burnt sienna. And all I'm doing, don't start painting stones or tiles. So a few lines, there's a few diagonal strokes to start with on the top. Just with my rigger brush. Very, very simple. Now, a few broken squiggly lines coming across. Like I said, broken, squiggly, you don't want perfect straight lines. It's an old roof. And just coming across. I think this is going to be quite a long video, still.
I think so.
So, when you're watching it at home, you might have to pause me and go for a cup of tea.
Might have to pause us and go for a cup of tea.
Hey?
We might have to pause us and go for a cup of tea.
No, we're not doing that. I've started now, so I'll finish. Don't get beside you, girl. Self-girl. You're not paid for having breaks.
Ah. Not paid is right.
What are you saying? Bit there. I'm starting to hum. Stop me when I start singing. I thought I would have got to come out like I'll have left when you start singing.
Just closed my mind to it all.
Don't make me laugh on these.
Well, it's got to be wiggly anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Hey?
The lines are wiggly anyway, so it doesn't matter if you're laughing.
Okay. And that will more or less do for the roof. The next thing in the building is the ivy. Some ivy on there. I forgot a bit of stonework in there, and Gail's just said, "You've gone over the edge." To which my answer was, "Oh, Gail, really, did I?"
It wasn't.
Wasn't it?
That wasn't what you said.
Okay. Now, a little bit of stonework there. Again, a little bit of raw umber and sand. There's some slopes of stonework there. Not many. Just a few. I'll do. Ivy. Now, I've got a patch of ivy there on the building, so I'm going to pop that in. And the reason why I'm going to put the ivy in first is because, before the shadow in the building, I mean, is because the ivy will also cast shadow onto the building. I want to get it in first. So I'm starting off with a little bit of yellow ochre, and again it's my round brush. And this is the same round brush that I've just been doing fine points with. And this one is 7 years old. Split it. That's just yellow ochre. And stipple on. Like that. Not like that, just like that. Now, Hooker's Green and Burnt Sienna. Nice and strong. Hooker's Green, Burnt Sienna. A little bit of water. And again, split it. And stipple on. Ivy growing up the building. And when I've finished destroying that brush, like I've just done, if I go back into the water, look, goes straight back to shape. No big deal. And these brushes get this kind of treatment every day of their lives. Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. And again, split it. And stipple. Easy peasy. And let all that dry for a second before I put the shadow in the building. Now, for the shadow on this puppy. Ultramarine blue. Alizarin crimson. So I've made a really naff purple there. And I tone that back with burnt sienna. So it's ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson and burnt sienna. But what I actually mean is the colour of your sky, the blue of your sky. Plus alizarin crimson and burnt sienna. So in the windows first. Again, number 8 round brush. But in the top there. And down the right hand side. See how that instantly recesses the window into the building?
Clever.
All right, that, isn't it? Get down here. A little bit fiddly, but well worth it because it's the shadow that makes the building. Now same on the dormer windows, just down there. And one down the middle as well. And again, that. And again, down the middle. To the left hand side of that bit of stone that I painted. In the door, a broader stroke. The door's deeper into the building. And down there. And again, this dormer window here. Not dormer, mullioned. You know what I mean. Don't you? Mm-hmm. And down the right. And in this one, on the side. Now, underneath that, little bit of fancy jiggly stonework stuff. Underneath there. All you got to do when you paint your shadows on the building is think, always have it in your mind which side the light's coming from. And what's going to cast a shadow on what. Now, clean down brush. Where I put that line in there, soften it down. Just with a stroke of water, softening it slightly. Like so. And that. Now, where the roof meets the building, a big, hard, dark shadow there. And broader there, all the way across. And that looks too dark and too strong and too scary at the moment. But that's going to change as soon as I get a clean down brush and soften it down at the base, look. Let it flow downwards slightly. Now that roof casting a shadow on the building. Isn't it, Gail?
It is.
The ivy will cast a shadow on the building. Clean down brush, soften it across. Now the ivy stands out as well. Doesn't it, Gail?
Mm.
I know what I'm doing here.
Seems to.
Excuse me? Underneath the dormer windows, look. Bit there. Bit there. Bit there. And a bit there. Now, those dormer windows stand out from the building, so they will cast a shadow on the building there. And again there. A bit down that side as well. Bit of squiggling in there with shadow. Bit of squiggling is a line. Don't forget the chimneys.
Don't forget your lintels.
And what?
And the windows.
I'm doing them in a minute.
So don't forget.
Which bit? You're talking about them?
Yeah.
They're window ledges, not lintels.
Okay. Window ledges then.
And slightly to the left underneath each ledge.
Yup.
That makes you feel better, does it?
Yes, yes.
Now, a little bit more water into that shadow mix. Give the whole building a bit of age. Very gently and very subtly. Now, wash out. Squeeze out. Soften that around a bit. See? Just gives it a bit of texture, a bit of age. How's that, girl? Sorry?
Would the chimneys cast a shadow on the roof?
I'm just mixing my shadow
Well,
for
you
that.
said how's that? I'm just saying.
Are you done?
I don't know. I'm waiting till you say you're done and then I'll chip in.
Bit on the chimneys there. A little bit there. Now, the chimneys are going to cast a shadow on the roof,
Okay.
Gail.
Thank you.
There, and a bit there. A little bit there as well.
All right, that looks fine.
Are we sure?
I'll pass it.
Okay, fine, thank you. Now, before we go any further with this big building, I've just been told off again by Gail. She switched the camera off because she thought I'm going to stop. And then that's my fault. For some unknown reason, it's my fault.
Paused.
I breathed. More shadow there. Yeah, I like that better now.
I didn't like to say that.
Excuse me.
I didn't like to point that out. I'm glad you saw it yourself.
Oh, I thought myself, that was amazing. There, that's better.
Right, have you stopped? Have you paused?
I've paused. Now, before I start with this big building here, I'm going to fill these little bushes in here. There's a bit of yellow oak to start with, which is coming in on the building. And a little bit of that there as well. I've got another one there. I'd forgotten that bush. Now, hooker's green and burnt sienna. Fairly strong. These are shrubs rather than trees. Hooker's green and burnt sienna. Bit of water into that. And drop that in there as well. And like I say, these come in on the sides of the buildings. Leaving a little bit of yellow ochre showing here and there, just get a little bit of light on. Bit down there, and a bit here. And a bit over here. And because I made that green so strong, which is going to get even stronger in a second, you can see how the building now goes back behind the bushes. Can you go?
I can.
Good. Now, bit of blue. And a bit there. You notice the majority of the blue's going into the left-hand side of the bush. Each bush. And let it run into the green. Now, a little bit there. Soften it into the green. Yay. There, that'll do for them. Again, yellow ochre. This big tree behind that doesn't exist, but it does now. I've created a tree. I grew it in minutes. Beauty about painting. You can make wherever you are look like whatever you want. Within reason, obviously.
Sounded a bit like Bob Ross there.
What? Excuse me?
Whatever you want.
Just get these little critters painted in. That's just yellow ochre. Now, hooker's green and burnt sienna. And plenty of water into this. I want this to spread. I'm just being careful not to put my hand on those. Hooker's green and burnt sienna, tapping on. Leave some gaps. Also leave the yellow ochre showing here and there. Now carefully around my chimneys. And again, notice it's all done with the number 8 round this. carefully down around the building. And again around my chimneys. And across there, around the building. And stipple upwards. I was about to say, any questions?
I'll give you plenty of questions if needed.
Oh, I know that. And coming down here. Again, carefully around the edge of the building there. Now a little bit of blue, just blue. And I'm putting the blue in mainly where the tree meets the building, going around the building with it. Then spread it upwards slightly. Down like that. When I shut my mouth, isn't it quiet?
Very quiet.
Is that the most common as we get, is it?
Mm.
No sarcasm then?
I'm just relishing the silence.
Okay. Now, clean down brush, wash out, squeeze out, and soften and tap in a little bit here and there. Soften the blue upwards a little bit. But leaving it nice and dark down there. Now, this big building, there's nowhere near as much detail in this. In fact, there's no detail. It's just a big wall, really. Big block. Right. But I'm pre-wetting first. With just a wet brush, which is a slightly mucky brush. But that's fine. Now, again, sand. And drop that in. And again, sand is the only colour that I'm filling it all in with. The rest I'm just dropping on bit by bit. So. I was going to stay in this place the other night. I was driving back from Exeter and I thought I'm going to stop at that place overnight as a break. But as it was, as I always do, I just carried on. So I drove all the way from Exeter to Northumberland in one big bash. Get that bit of yellow ochre just dropping up. And a little bit of light red here and there. Same stone, but I'm just going to make it darker, a bit of light red. Now, a little bit of raw umber before the blue. A few dabs of that. Bish bash bosh. That's technical term, that girl. And now, a bit of blue. Everything's that touch darker. Of course, light's coming from behind here. Now, clean damp brush again, wash out, squeeze it out. Just with a clean damp brush. Merge colours together. What a lovely stonework colour that is, isn't it?
It is.
I know it's just like I haven't disrespected you in this stall, have I?
Oh yeah.
Apparently I disrespect you a lot, somebody said in YouTube feedback.
He's very brave.
Eh?
I said, you're very brave.
What, disrespecting you?
Mm.
Yeah, I know. Right. If only they knew the truth. And just let that dry. And then I'll put some effective stoneworks in there as well. But in the meantime, I can go back to this area and paint on the walls that are around the building. But I'm not pre-wetting for this, look. I've got a bit of sand there. A bit of wall there. I've got a bit there. A bit over here. No. Take the wall there. Below that white bit. It's in line with that, look. You see that, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a little bit of raw umber. So that's sand to start with, then a little bit of raw umber, and drop that on top of the sand here and there, just a few dabs. And that. And now I'm just filling in areas in the foreground. Like that bit there, I've got a bit of white there, which will be a bit of lawn behind. You didn't know there was a lawn there, did you?
Didn't.
You should have, because you walked over it. Now, a little bit of yellow ochre and hooker's green. Put that across there. Like that. And a little bit of that in between the gates as well there. Now, while that's still wet, I'll go back to a little bit of shadow now. So again, the blue of the sky, ultimate blue, alizarin crimson, a touch of burnt sienna. There. All I want to do with that is have a bit of shadow there, and shadow cast by that bush on the wall. A little bit there from that bush. That bush is behind the wall. Now to my 3/4 inch brush for a second. 3/4 inch flat. A little bit of yellow ochre. I'm just going underneath the wall there. If you touch the yellow ochre, remember there's a little path. It's not such a path, more of a gap up to the wall, up to the gate. There. Bit of yellow ochre all the way across there. Now hooker's green and yellow ochre mixed. There's my hooker's green and a lot of yellow ochre. There. Plenty of water. Drop that into there. Leaving yellow ochre showing as well. And bring that down to there. A bit there. See, I created a path there.
You have.
Quite clever, that, wasn't it?
Genius. Keep saying genius.
Well,
Keeps you happy.
thank you. Give with one hand, take away with the other. leave that for a second, because now I can go back to there. I'm back with my number 8 round brush. Bit of raw umber, slightly stronger this time, the raw umber. Bit of that. And a few strokes. Cornerstone scale.
Well done, well remembered.
Now a few bits in here. Like I say, you're not building this building. You're giving the impression of stonework. So just do a few blows. And that will tell the eye that it's made of stone. Likewise with bricks, don't paint individual bricks if you've got a brick building. Just a few. Now, I've got another tree behind there, so I'll block that in. Starting off again, same as the last tree, but a little bit weak. The last big tree, I mean, but a little bit weaker. Yellow oak to start with, dab on. A few bits there. And again, hooker's green and burnt sienna. Fairly strong, plenty of water into it, but not as strong as this first one here. Like that. Carefully around that building. Leave some gaps as well. And again, carefully around the other buildings. And the chimneys. I mean, if you went into them, you can easily take it out again. It's not the end of the world, even though it's watercolours. I've got a book out which is called Watercolour Rescue, and that shows you how to rectify your mistakes. Take it out, do it again, and it works. And the book contains lots of Gale's paintings as well, which we called Gale's Fails.
Deliberately failed, I might add.
It's the only chance I got to get my own back. Now, a little bit of blue again. Put that in. And about the building. What was that?
My phone told me to move or something.
And again, clean damp brush. Stipple on, soften up. Now I want to give that a minute or two just to settle and dry a little bit before I stick this big ivy in here in the foreground.
Okay, can I just take a picture? Oh, look at the picture I'm working from.
Now, time for that big clump of ivy growing up the wall. And again, it's back to my number 8 round brush. And I'll get my yellow ochre to start with. Fairly strong that, there's not much water in it. Now, split the brush. That's what I mean by split the brush, really give it some hammer look. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Stipple on. Keep it split. Now, hooker's green and burnt sienna mix, but fairly strong this. Look, there's my hooker's green. Now, a bit of burnt sienna there. Yes, yeah, burnt sienna. And again, split the brush. And stipple. Now, can you see how once I get that nice and strong like that, how that bit of building goes further back? You see that again?
Mm-hmm.
It's called planning. Or, as you would call it, happy accidents. Stippling, bringing it up a bit. It's okay to leave some bits of white showing through. It's just extra light in the picture, or in clumps. Now, a little bit of black, but don't use manufactured black. Make your black look. There's ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. A bit more burnt sienna. And then again, there's black. See? Easy peasy. Split the brush in. And stipple in there. And a few little bits up there. Ivy.
Lovely.
Now, just big bits really, and a bit of final shadow, and we're done with it. I'm going to do the track and the path first. I'll do the path before we get to the grass. That does amuse me. Now, a little bit of ultramarine blue and light red. Ultramarine blue and light red. More light red. There. More water. Yeah, that's all right. And across here. More water and I'm going. Carefully up to the path. And again, I'm leaving little bits of white paper speckling through. Speckling through, that's a new technical term, that girl.
I haven't heard that one before.
Hmm?
I don't think I've heard that one before.
No, it's a new one, just made it up. Well, no, I didn't make it up, it's out of the classical dictionary. Dreadful rubbish. A bit more of that. Picking it up, spreading it back. Now a little bit of that over here as well, into that little pathway there. Now light red, just light red, plenty of water into it. You get some of that over the top as well. And that just gives it a little bit of warmth to the thing. How's that go?
Lovely. Very past-like.
Very path-like. Sorry, you mean path. Right.
Path-like.
It's a bright, much brighter sunny day than it was on the day. It's not the kind of day where you need a ball. Just taking a bit of water out, paint out here and there. Reveal a little bit more light here and there. But now I need that to dry just for a minute or two, because otherwise all of these grasses are going to bleed into there. Now, this big clump of grassy stuff, it's actually shrubs and grassy bits, but it's going to be big grass. I've decided, girl.
Yeah, well, you're the master.
You didn't realise I was a gardener as well, did you?
There hasn't been much evidence of it, put it that way.
Flicking up with my 3/4 inch brush this. What do you mean? Haven't been much evidence. So we haven't got a garden. We've got a field.
We've got pots, and you don't go near them.
Well, why would I? They're pots.
Yeah, they'll still need tending.
That's yellow ochre. Now hooker's green and yellow ochre. Bit more yellow ochre.
Take your time.
Hey?
Take your time, we can wait.
Excuse me. Golly gosh. Don't like that flick. But I like that water shines through as well. Now bring it down to the edge there. Now, a little bit of blue. And I don't want too much water in the blue either. A bit of blue there. That would do nicely. And a little bit of that in there. Bringing it down slightly. Don't want it laying flat. It's a big clump. Now, again, flick up. There. Bits in there. Now a little bit of digital art, I think. No, I don't like that, Gav, you.
Not really. Showing your fingerprints.
My DNA is in the painting. Yeah, that's all right. Now, final shadows. What I've got for this, again, the ultramarine blue, because that's the blue of the sky, alizarin crimson, my purple, and a touch of birch here. There. Yep, that did nicely. And a little bit of that in the edge of that side of the path there. So, a little bit in the far left hand corner here, and then bring that upward side of it. Like that stuff. A little bit there. Now, a little bit more water into the same brush full of paint. And that building there is going to cast a bit of shadow on there, like that. And bring that down to the ground there. Now that puts that bottom bit in shadow from that. I know what I'm doing, you know. Sometimes. Now, a few touches in the path, in the path, like so. Remember that horns just reminded me. Remember that day we were filming and there was a car accident out there?
Yes. Not fatal.
No, it was just a bump with a lot of noise. And you had to go and assist.
I did.
Some call her Florence, not a Nightingale. Others call her Gale. Maybe it's that. And I think that's about it, really, isn't it? All that remains now is to take my tape off. And there we go. Job done. Finished painting. Wasn't that too difficult, really. I don't know how long a video it's going to make, but it'll be over an hour, I think. Should keep you going with a couple of cups of tea in between. But once I've taken the tape off, then you get the feel of a finished painting. You've got some nice crisp, sharp edges. All done with 4 brushes. And I did use all 4 of them, didn't I, this time ago?
You did, yes.
1.5 inch flat, 3/4 inch flat, number 8 round, and a number 4 rigger. That's it. Aquafine brushes. Everything I use is Dale Rowney. I think they're the best in the world, the materials. But Aquafine, strictly speaking, students' quality. But as you can see, they don't act like students' quality material. And the paint especially, again, which is Aquafine. There we go. There's the Aquafine paint. Good, strong colours. And you can get some really nice depth to your pictures with those. Mine looks a mess, obviously. Everything that I use looks a mess. That's because I'm a messy painter. The paper I've just used, the Langton Rough, £140 or 300 gram, and we sell it in 2 formats, A3 and A4. Langton Rough, lovely, lovely paper. The thing about that is, it's sized on both sides, so there's not, it's, what do I mean? Internally sized, that's what I'm trying to. It's internally sized, so there's no wrong side to paint on. You can just paint on either side. And there's books on watercolours here. That's the one I was telling you about, Watercolour Rescue. And that one, if you've got a problem, if you've made a mistake, have a look at it. It'll show you how to put it right. And another one, the pocket book, full of tips and techniques, absolutely full of tips and techniques. And then there's the Coastal Landscapes, which is in 2 formats, the softback as well for that one. And there are more to come. I've just signed contracts for more, so yes. But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this. Have a look at everything on the website, charlesevансart.com, and enjoy having a go at it. See you soon. Bye bye.